What if you were just one trap away from winning a championship? I'm Grandmaster Max Illingworth, and I know from my own experiences coaching many students in the Australian Junior Chess Championships that sometimes just a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of key information can make the difference between winning the tournament, holding the championship trophy over your head, and being forgotten in the annals of chess history as just one of many names in the big cross table. So, by that I refer to, of course, the topic of opening preparation, where I've had quite a few games where my students were playing for a title and their opponents played some really tricky prepared opening trap that they weren't ready for. You know, my student made a mistake and then missed out on a chance to get the title. And I've also worked with students on the other side where they used some very clever opening idea that I'd shown them that got them a big advantage early in the game, and that allowed them to actually win the key game, or in some cases win a key playoff game, to win the championship title and have all the rewards and joy and prestige that comes from that success. Now, I know that you want to become a chess champion as well, right? Well, let me share with you a game where I used an opening trap in order to win the Australian Championship title in 2018. And this is a game that still sort of brings a smile to my face, because this is a trap that got me interested in the French defense in the first place 10 years ago, and now it comes full circle in this game that I will show you right now. Well, I was playing black against Jean Nakauchi, quite strong player from the Queensland state in Australia, and basically I figured he'll probably go d4, and then after this play as usual c4 Queen's Gambit repertoire, and I was sort of expecting a long fight from there, but I figured, well, I knew from one of the students I was coaching at this time that Jean had this particular hole in his repertoire where he would keep constantly falling for the same opening trap game after game after game. The only thing is it arose in the French defense, which is of course an opening with 1e4. So here I played the winning move. I played the move e6, and the point of e6 was simple. I figured, well, if he goes c4, I'll play my usual Nimzo Indian system anyway, and I haven't lost anything. But there's just that tiny chance that he will play e4 and transpose to the French defense. Because maybe he didn't play e4 because he was worried about my Sicilian or maybe my Berlin Wall or something, and he was actually quite happy to go into a French. And well, I just happened to be very lucky in this game because he played e4 and walked right into the French. And I had done a little bit of preparation here, and I will show you how that went because I actually got it in the game. So after knight c3, I played the classical line with knight f6. It's really the winner as the other major option. And rather than playing the burn version with bishop g5, d4, which is meant to be just fine for black, Jean played the critical line of e5, knight fd7. I actually did some pretty detailed annotations to these games, but I'll just show you the main points here. So after f4, this is known as the Steinitz variation, and the reason it's the most critical line from White's perspective is that in this position White has a clear space advantage to work with, and if Black does take on d4, then White can sort of take back and still keep a good grip over the d4 square. Now it's true, the line with queen b6 and the Steinitz poison pawn with queen b2, this line is one that has actually been worked out to a draw by top engines and correspondence players. Although over the board it's very scary for Black, and I think I would recommend a line I played higher for most practical players. So if we go back to the year 2008, at that time I'd been playing the Sveshnikov Sicilian for 6 years as my almost exclusive opening versus e4. But there were certain lines where I wasn't very comfortable, like the lines, for example, where they play like knight d5 and bishop f6 and play c4, like those were one lines that were really bothering me. I also did Rossolimo. Was another one that was a bit of an issue at the time for me. So I was looking for another system to add to my repertoire against 1e4. And actually that's also a good way to be able to avoid the opponent's preparation and to avoid them preparing some opening trap for you is actually to have two openings you can play, because then the opponent can't just memorize just one line. They have to learn different types of positions to handle to be ready for you. So I was looking at the French defense, and I was really inspired by this article in New and Chess Yearbook survey, where the move bishop e7 was recommended. And I thought, well, okay, it's a logical enough move, just preparing the castle short, develop the king side, and wait to see what happens from there. And there was a particular trap, actually, that I really like to... That basically, this was a trap that convinced me to start playing the French as black. And it arises in this position where, rather than just showing you the mistake white played immediately, I want to see if you can find the best move for white in this position. So, go for it. What would you play with white? As always, you can pause the video if you need more time to think about this, and then resume the video to hear my Grandmaster insights once again. Okay, so hopefully you didn't fall into a trap with castle's queenside, because that's what Jean did in the game. You'll sort of understand why it's a big mistake as the game plays out, but that's the main trap I want to show. This sort of solid option is to play bishop e2, but then I think after b6, castles and bishop b7, or even f5 is also possible. You can play it in different ways. Personally, I think I prefer bishop b7 though. And the idea of this is that you can basically take on d4 and often bring that knight towards e4 for quite good counterplay. So this is a sort of modern line as such. It has a good reputation for black. The old school approach I learned is to go a6 and b5, which is also quite fine. Actually, if you check my chess.com profile, Illingworth, then actually in my profile you'll actually see my annotations to my win against Bobby Cheng in the 2015 Australasian Masters with this exact a6 and b5 line. So if you do want to play this opening, I recommend checking out game after this video as well for some further insights. But anyway, let's get into the actual game. Actually, before I do, I should show you the best move for white in this position. The critical move is to play d takes c5 here. And the point is basically to be able to castle queenside and go for the standard attacking plans, like h4, bishop d3, and going for the h7 Greek gift sack, without running into some problems that we'll see in the game after the immediate long castles. I could go into a lot more detail, but for now I'll say that I think that h4, this is a move I conclude my initial analysis as being the best move. Now I'd say that probably king b1 is the way to force an edge as white, technically speaking. Anyhow, the game saw white instead play long castles. And again, I pass this puzzle over to you. What would you play as black in this case? Okay, congratulations if you came up with the move of c4. The reason that really the attention with c4 is so strong here is because we have a very quick b5, b4, and it transpires that black's attack is a lot faster than white's. Now, the remarkable thing about this is this wasn't the first time that Jean had fallen into this trap. Actually, one of the other Queensland players, Yi Lu, had actually got this trap several times against Jean in consecutive games, and Jean just sort of kept falling for it anyway, for some reason. And, well, it's sort of funny that he kind of fell for it again, because, he played castle queenside quickly, but then after c4 he just sat there for a long time. Yeah, he sat there for 12 minutes actually, kind of like, well, what do I do? Like, he realized things had gone kind of wrong already. But, I mean, white should have played f5 instead, and really tried to get some counterplay. But I mean, if white doesn't change the trend of game somehow, then it's going to be very easy to just bring more pieces in the attack on the white king, using the large space advantage. So white should at least try something like f6 and try to unbalance the game by sacking a pawn to open up the center. Though it turns out black is still much better anyway with correct play, so it's not really that big of an issue. One key point is if bishop h6 that the exchange sack with d5 is a particularly effective way to neutralize white's attack, just as a little pointer for you to continue your own investigations from. In the actual game, Gene made it quite easy for me to finish, to sort of cap off the attack. So he played queen to f2, had b5 in this case. And of course, if white takes the pawn, then just rook b8, and I mean, the attack is just accelerated by the fact that the b file is opened. And after b3, there are so many good moves, but even say knight b4 and, you know, just bringing all the remaining pieces in the attack is very quickly going to be decisive. That much is clear even without much further analysis. So in the game, after king b1, I played b4 to kick the knight around. True, maybe I should have played queen a5 first to avoid knight a4, but it worked out in the end because he played knight e2. I played the move queen a5. Admittedly, I played a little bit too quickly in this game because the move knight b6 is probably more precise, even though it looks natural to put the queen here. Anyway, white kind of realized things had gone quite wrong for him already, so he tried to change the trend of the game with f5, sacking a pawn, trying to open up the king side. But after ef5, the fact that I can defend this pawn with a bishop means that white's play just doesn't really lift off. So after queen g3, I played the move of king h8, just getting out of bishop h6. It's true that the computer wanted to play f4 instead of king h8, but keeping the material seemed natural to me. White played knight f4, and well, this video is a nice opportunity to test your attacking skill, and it's the reason why I love to share these sort of opening traps, because they really do teach you how to set problems for the opponent, and they teach you how to actually convert the advantage into a win with powerful attacking play and taking over the initiative. All valuable skills, I'd say even essential skills for becoming a chess champion. So what's the move that I played here as black in this case? Well, there are a lot of pretty good moves that are basically winning, but the most efficient is b3, sacking the pawn temporarily, but forcing open the files on the queen side because I'm attacking two of their pawns at once, so that if they move one, I'll simply take the other. So he played cb3, cb3, and he tried to keep things close with a3 because if a takes b3, I have knight b4. I mean, either the rook will come in the attack and, you know, I'll have a checkmate on a2 rather quickly from there. Or if king c1, I can even play queen a2 anyway if I want to, since white doesn't really have a good way to cover b3 or to stop my rook coming into the attack with a check. So it's pretty bad news for white, right? Well, in the game, white played a3, and then we come to another critical position because, I mean, it's one thing to know that your position is good, but it's another to know how to actually convert it into a win, and also like what you should typically be aiming for in terms of the model plans and the model ideas. So in this position, I invite you to come up with your move for black before continuing with the video. Okay, congratulations. The answer is bishop takes a3. And the point of bishop takes a3 is that whites can't really safely take that bishop, actually, because after takes, this is what happened in the game. Well, already there's a threat of checkmate using the fawn pawn on b3, which is an integral part of the black attack here. After rook d2, this is the point where I sort of had a little bit of a think, or actually I had a long think before bishop a3, because I want to make sure that this line was indeed winning as I had sensed. And I came up with knight b4, and there are certainly lots of other winning moves, but the idea of playing the knight to c2 to set up a mate on a1, or knight a2 to set up a knight on c3 is just very difficult for white to deal with. In the game, white tried to counterattack with knight g5, but after knight a2, still there's a threat of mate on c3. The only really sensible way to cover it is knight e2, but then I was able to bring more pieces in the attack with tempo, where you might notice that my bishop and rooks are not doing that much. So a very good attacking principle is to bring the pieces that are the least active, that aren't involved in the attack, into the attack for greater impact and to keep the flow and momentum. So at bishop a6, it's not just developing the bishop, but also threatening to get rid of the knight and clear the way for knight c3 checkmate. So bishop f4 was played to cover c3 with the queen. I played rook a c8 to threaten knight rook c1 and queen c1 mate. And finally, the white position just sort of collapses here. After rook b2, I played bishop takes c2, clearing the way for a deadly knight c3 attack. And in this position, we had white played bishop d2, which I will get to in a moment when this light goes away on my chess face. That's what happens when I try to do too many things at once. So anyway, if white does try some move like rook takes b3, then knight c3 is a pretty clear refutation using the x-ray, right? Or actually, there's one thing I should explain. Because after a queen c3, actually there's a much better move after queen c3 than the move rook takes c3, which is kind of the obvious move. Come on, computer, let me play this move already. There we go. What you can do is you can actually play rook b8. It turns out that's actually an even stronger move to finish off the king. That's pretty nasty. Well, in the game it went a little bit differently. Kind of annoyed that the video is freezing so much, but we're going to get there eventually. So, alright, so I'll just go back a couple of moves. Just bear with me. Yes, there we go. So I played bishop d2, and I mean, he could have resigned at this point, but fortunately he allowed me to play a very attractive finish in this position. So what's the way for black to finish the game in his favour? Okay, it turns out it's actually a mate in 2 puzzle, and I was able to take the championship in style by playing the move rook to c1. And after this move of rook c1, which is usually the computer doesn't let me play the checkmate, well, he resigned because he saw that knight c3 checkmate is coming after this. So there you have it. That was my win against G Nakauchi, how I used an opening trap to secure the Australian Championship victory. And, well, there the lesson is clear, that if you want to become a chess champion, a key part of it is not just, say, doing your tactics or playing against strong players, but it's also about having key knowledge, knowing some things that your opponents don't, that you can use to get the advantage over them in your games. And the most obvious example of that are like the opening traps we saw here. We're knowing this little nuance of them playing c4 when they castle long, and my opponent firstly not knowing that is what allowed me to win this game very easily with actually very little effort or energy. I think if I remember correctly, I think I had like 57 minutes at this point of game in a 90-minute game. And most of that time was actually just double checking things. I kind of knew the move was right, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything important and trick myself. So there you have it. That's the video on how I won the Australian Championship with this opening trap of the French defense. If you need to replay it, just go through the video again and make sure that then you've got it remembered as such. If you have any questions, you can always ask me in the comments. And with that being said, it was a great pleasure to show you these awesome opening traps, to share you my story, and I'll see you in the next chess video or the next chess course, whichever comes first.